Welcome back. Is energy going to be President Obama's Waterloo? That's the question for today. The short answer, if you want to, you don't have to fast forward to the end of the episode. Short answer is yes. As I looked at the various websites today to see gas prices, I saw $5.60 a gallon for the high in Los Angeles. And I thought, boy, those poor people in LA. And then I looked in Alaska, Bethel, Alaska, gas is selling for $6.54 for a gallon. And then I looked across Florida and I saw gas at $6 a gallon by an airport. But I think that's, that smacks of the collusion with the rental car companies, because if you don't fill the tank up, they charge you, what do they charge these days? $28 a gallon. So is energy going to be the end of it for President Obama? Now keep in mind, candidate Obama said what? He said, under my plan of cap and trade, the price of electricity will necessarily skyrocket. When not even the democratically controlled House and Senate in the first 2 years of his term would vote for cap and trade, and it was voted down, the Senate voted down the Kyoto Protocol 97 to zip, and cap and trade didn't get, 4 yes votes. Nobody is going to put their name, nobody who has to stand for election is going to put their name on cap and trade except for someone who is a fanatic. And the definition of a fanatic is someone who won't change their mind and can't shut their mouth. Well, the president has said repeatedly after cap and trade was defeated, he said, oh, there's more than one way to skin a cat. We'll just have the EPA close those plants down. And we've visited about this before. There's 28 coal-fired generation stations that are about to be closed in the Midwest because of EPA standards. Now, once people begin to see the price of electricity necessarily skyrocket, coupled with Energy Secretary Chu, I want gasoline to be $10 a gallon, so you will buy the car that I think you should drive. You won't drive the car you want to drive or the car you like to drive, but the car that Energy Secretary Chu thinks you should drive. Can you say Chevy Volt? And by the way, the Chevy Volt doesn't stop pollution. The Chevy Volt transfers where the pollution occurs. And it transfers it, you can feel really good about, I plug my car in, I have a plug-in hybrid. Or you could have the Nissan Leaf and be fully electric and plug it in, or the Tesla and plug it in. They still have to generate the electricity somewhere. And 60% of American electricity is generated by coal. So what's the price elasticity of demand? If you take all the coal out of the equation, electricity, true to form, candidate Obama and now President Obama, under my plan of cap and trade, the price of electricity will necessarily skyrocket. Now what's unavoidable here is the damage that will be done to the middle class, the lower middle class, and the lower class. We're talking about the 3 bottom quintiles of income earners. Economists always break the economy into 5 quintiles, 5 20% groupings. Upper class, upper middle class, 2 above and 2 below, lower middle class, lower class, okay? When you think about those bottom 3 quintiles of income earners, those 60%, if electricity prices skyrocket, to borrow the president's own description of his own policy, when the electricity prices skyrocket, does it hurt Donald Trump? Not in the least. And, does it hurt Bill Gates? Not in the least. If you are already Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Donald Trump, and you've got billions of dollars in residual investment that crank out a return no matter what happens, you may face, some minor squeeze at the far margin of your economic empire, but it's no big deal. If you're working for $10 an hour, which is the median wage in the county I live in, and the electricity price from Arizona Public Service doubles, which is fully consistent with the president's plan. His phrase was skyrocket. And the price of gasoline goes from $1.89 a gallon on the day Obama was inaugurated till today. Yesterday, as I drove to Phoenix to get my cancer treatment in the little towns outside of Prescott, gas was $4.20, $4.30, $4.40. The regular was selling for $3.90 to $4 a gallon, and premium was selling for $4 to $4.40 a gallon, depending on which station you looked at. If you're working for a living and you're in those bottom 3 quintiles, and your income is almost 100% spent on a break even. You know, in an economic sense, your subsistence level. This policy, this energy policy of the president's, you know, forget that the reality of observation doesn't back up the underlying rationale. CO2 causes global warming. Forget that that's wrong. For the second, just ask yourself politically, if you have gone out and made class warfare your deal, as the president has, and now you are systematically, through your policy, destroying the ability of the lower class, the lower middle class, and the middle class to sustain themselves, at some point people will go, hey, this guy's killing us. Now, I remember clearly the night before the Reagan-Carter race, being in the grocery store, being at a Safeway store, and every single person in line was mad as all get out at Jimmy Carter. I stopped to get gas on the way home. I had to wait an hour to buy 8 gallons. That's all I was allowed to buy. Everybody in that gas line said, I'm voting against Jimmy Carter. They didn't necessarily say, I'm voting for Ronald Reagan. They said, I'm voting against Jimmy Carter. I looked at all of them and said, I'm voting for Ronald Reagan, and I'm voting for him because we're going to get a different energy policy. We still don't have, and this is because of Congress, we still don't have a substantial energy policy that says, drill baby drill, build nuclear power plants, be self-sufficient and self-sustaining. So, as we head toward this November election, Mr. Obama has no one to blame for the high price of gasoline but himself. It's his fault. It's the natural result of his policies. It's the natural result of Lisa Jackson at the Employment Prevention Agency and Stephen Chu at the Department of Energy. God bless you. God bless the U.S.